way to the cage now will fight out of the blue corner. Weighted at 243 pounds. From Kansas City, Missouri, ladies and gentlemen, Troy, heavy hitter Depriest.
Troy Depriest making his way to the cage. This young man has quite a bit of experience in the cage. I believe he has 19 amateur fights. This fight right here, I think, is going to be a very, very impressive stand-up fight. Both these guys like to stand up. Again, heavyweights, only takes one when the big boys are throwing their hands. So, and I believe there's some bad blood between these two.
Is there?
If I'm informed correctly, I believe that there is.
I think that always makes for an interesting fight when there's a little bit of a backstory. Last night on Invicta Fighting Championships, there was a fight between Shannon Sim and Maureen Reardon, former training partners actually. Sure. Very, very bad blood between those two all week. The tension was absolutely palpable. So we'll see if we see that level of aggression come out here tonight at KCFA.
Yeah, and sometimes you see an emotion. Emotion can be a great motivator, but also, some fighters tend to let their emotions get the best of them, and it may affect their performance a bit.
I like the smaller weight classes because they move so quickly, but I do love a heavyweight fight.
Absolutely.
I think everybody does. Everybody loves to see those big overhands, heavy hitters.
Right. It's what people pay the price of admission for, to see some big boys throwing punches.
And he most certainly is a big boy as we see him make his way to the cage here.
His opponent will fight tonight out of the red corner. He weighed in 260 pounds. From Lee's Summit, Missouri, here is Galen Big Body Livingston.
What a great nickname.
That is a great nickname for a heavyweight. Very fitting.
Just go literal with it. Very athletic build for such a big guy. I see Austin Ford in his corner. Austin Ford is one of the best boxing coaches in Kansas City. Has coached the likes of James Krause, Zach Cummings. I mean, honestly, Tim Elliott. He has worked with a who's who of Kansas City fighters. Phenomenal job of turning grapplers into strikers, which he did with me.
Absolutely. And one thing about Austin Ford is he's found a way to mix in traditional boxing techniques, traditional kickboxing techniques, and kind of implement that into the MMA game as a whole.
He calls it his funky flow. He definitely likes to teach his students an unusual style of striking. We will see if we see that from Galen Livingston this evening.
This bout brought to you by Don's Barbershop, located at 23rd Street next to Aldi's. Get faded at Don's Barbershop. Heavyweights, Depriest versus Livingston.
Both men wearing black trunks this evening.
Here we go, KCFA 14, Livingston versus Depriest. Throwing hands early. Good exchange early from the heavyweights.
A phenomenal pace from the heavyweights early. I can't imagine that this pace will be able to be maintained very long.
They clinch up for a little bit of a break here. Very, very quick pace early from the heavyweights.
Livingston wearing the yellow gloves. Since they're both wearing black trunks, that might be a good way to differentiate the two fighters.
Livingston looking for a takedown. Looks like Depriest is working that standing guillotine there. That's
tight.
tight.
Have it. That is very tight. That is in, although...
Pops his head out.
Step up, step up!
Going right back to throwing the leather.
But it was an arm-in guillotine. Those can be very difficult to finish, especially from a standing position.
Oh, good right hand by Livingston.
These men are swinging.
Depriest goes down.
Depriest goes down.
Eating punches.
Covering up.
Mike England's seen enough.
Another quick one. Poor JJ barely made it back to the commentator booth.
He's got to go right back in.
To put his headset on. Back in the cage with you. And that's why we love a heavyweight fight. Right there.
That fight was as advertised.
Depriest certainly wearing a bit of damage there, bloody nose.
Looked like he got caught with the right hand there, and was the beginning of the end.
Like you said, Turner, it just takes one punch from these big guys.
Absolutely.
I'm not entirely sure that that style of striking is exactly what Austin had been working on.
But I'm sure he's just as happy with the result.
He's just as happy with the results.
I think one thing that Austin will be happy with is the composure that Livingston had during those exchanges. Both men looked very comfortable in the pocket, and neither one were willing to retreat.
In these early fights in an amateur career, I'll let Ozone speak for a minute.
The winner by TKO to the strikes out of the red corner, Galen Big Body Livingston.